Screen Time salutations to all you internet dwellers out there, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I'm joined with the boys as always. Keelan, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well. It is a wonderful Wednesday indeed.
Wonderful Wednesday indeed, and we got Mike. What's going on, man?
Oh, it's going good. You know me, man, hanging in there. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Pretty decent day today, so I cannot complain. We're hoping that you're having a great day too, or whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We today are going to talk about the 2017 film The Foreigner, and it's starring Jackie Chan, Pierce Brosnan, and it was directed by Martin Campbell and written by David Marconi. And yeah, so I have a really hard time picking movies sometimes, and so I'll look up like websites like what was added to Netflix or what was added to Hulu. I literally did that yesterday. And so I spent like an hour scrolling, and this is the one that kind of like I felt something about over all the rest of them. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and I had not seen this one before. And so I can give a brief synopsis real quick before we get into first impressions, I suppose. The synopsis from IMDb is: a humble businessman with a buried past seeks justice when his daughter is killed in an act of terrorism. A cat and mouse conflict ensues with a government official whose past may hold clues to the killer's identities. And that's a pretty good synopsis. Jackie Chan is the father who loses his daughter in a bombing. That bombing becomes sort of tied and embroiled with the UK government and the IRA, or terrorist organizations. And Jackie Chan's sole purpose is trying to find the people who bombed this bank that was next to a shop that his daughter was in. And unfortunately, she passed away. Classic sort of revenge flick, one-man army flick, kind of a fun romp. But before I give my first impressions, let's ask the dudes. What do you guys think?
Dudes.
Dude. Totally, dude.
We are Californian, after all.
This is true.
Let me tell you what I thought about it.
You got to talk like that for the rest of the
episode.
I know. Oh, God. We have to find one of those old movies to review, but back to this.
Yeah, I guess I could go first.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I come across a Jackie Chan movie, I always want to see fight choreography is, because he's the best at fight choreography. He's
master.
His old movies, something like things like Drunken Master, and basically any of the movies that he did in China and the old flicks, he would spend months. He was allowed months to figure out the fight choreography.
Yeah,
which is great. And this didn't disappoint, and I'm happy they didn't go too overboard with the quick edits, because ever since the Bourne Identity, everybody wants to have a shaky cam and then have 80 cuts for one punch. I don't need that. I don't need any of that. But it's nice that the fights, they were able to breathe, and Jackie was able to kind of do his thing within those fights. The story was kind of just boilerplate. You didn't really need it. It wasn't going to be anything that pulled you in too much. Overall, though, I enjoyed it and was able to kind of slip into that suspension of disbelief where I didn't care if there was anything technically wrong or something like that. I didn't get bored with it. Pierce Brosnan plays a pretty good villain. I liked how he was sort of like used to get his hands dirty, but now he just takes a very high level of things and tries to like manage the problem. And that's seeing that character kind of go like have this downward spiral was cool. Overall, like an entertaining, enjoyable flick.
Yeah, awesome.
Totally agree.
Keelan, what do you think?
I think that Jackie Chan is the best stunt choreographer in probably history, but that's only because I've never really heard anybody else's story. So yeah, But yeah, I agree with Mike as far as when I saw that Jackie Chan was a part of this movie, I immediately was like, all right, we're going to see some people get punched and front kicked down flights of stairs. And I was thoroughly satisfied with that. But overall, I like the movie. I think the characters, the way they were developed through the actors it was decent. I really didn't expect this movie to have any depth. It didn't have too much depth, but I guess because Jackie Chan and Pierce Bronson are actually good actors, you kind of got tied into like, yo, they are kind of going at it. Like there were a lot of good close-up dialogue scenes back and forth between a lot of characters, not just those two. One of my personal favorites was near the end with McGrath and Liam. Just the shot that they got of two grown men barking at each other from maybe 4 inches away, nose to nose. I can't remember many movies where that was shot and it didn't look weird. Like you felt the aggression, you felt and saw all of the tension in that scene that was trying to be pushed through. And I feel like there was a lot of those scenes through this movie, and I didn't expect that. So pleasantly surprised. And I think I could really just leave it at that. Pleasantly surprised and given everything I expected out of Jackie Chan, everything Mike said as well. Can I pick it? Can I throw that on?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes,
It's just compounds. That's what it is.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you guys nailed it as far as the way I feel as well. I saw Jackie Chan. I'm pretty much sold.
Right.
It's just you don't like. Okay, not every Jackie Chan movie is great, but Jackie Chan is great in every movie.
May I say that even in his bad movies, the fight scenes are still great?
Absolutely, that's what I mean. Jackie Chan is great in every movie, even if the movie's terrible. So at least I knew that I could rely on that, and it definitely is a different Jackie Chan than we've seen before. I mean, this dude's in his 60s now.
Yeah, how old is Jackie Chan?
In his 60s for sure. Maybe like 64 or something like that. But I mean, like, dude is obviously still in amazing shape, and yeah, and so it was interesting to see like that kind of like old man Logan thing going on, where it's like it's now old man Jackie Chan, and it's also sad Jackie Chan, which I've never really seen before. I mean, like I've seen him do like semi dramatic scenes in comedy movies, but this is like a very dramatic movie, and there's not any comedy. There are some funny moments, but there's not any comedy in the movie. So it was kind of cool to see him like be more serious, and I thought he was pretty convincing with that. And I think it was good that he didn't get too much dialogue. Most of it was in his face. Most of the acting was in his eyes, and so I thought that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it overall. I want to say too, in particular, I enjoyed the sounds, the music that they used. I think that kind of stood out for me in this movie as well. So enjoyed that.
Very nice.
Yeah. So now that we're done with the first impressions, how do you want to take this? Because like the first scene pretty much starts off with a bang, right?
Literally.
quite literally, yeah. And so we open up to this scene in which Jackie Chan is driving his daughter, who is maybe in high school, going to prom. Is that
yeah, for sure. At least a dance. I don't even think it was prom. Yeah, just dance.
Just a school dance, and she's going to get a dress. Yeah. And Jackie Chan is kind of set up as this overprotective father, very concerned about how she gets out of the car. Not wanting her to take any sort of risks. So you get that sort of overprotective father vibe from him almost immediately. And unfortunately, the shop that the girl goes into is right next to a bank, I guess. I didn't see the bank, but that all happened pretty fast. So yeah. What do you guys think about the intro scene?
Boom.
Boom goes the dynamite.
I like that it sets up this overly caring father, right? And you find out a little bit later why he puts all of his emotion on this one daughter,
Mhm.
And but it comes off real well. Even like I was like watching, like he's being a little bit extra with this kid. The kid can
Right.
cross the street fine,
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah.
And then the explosion happens, and you bring in like that reporter, and that scene where he's taking pictures of it all up, and he goes to take a picture of Jackie
Mm.
holding his daughter and crying, and he just kind of
Yeah.
like pulls the camera back.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really effective. So you
It-
really get like the complete loss of any bit of humanity within that father character,
Mhm.
and then the slow buildup of kind of getting back into just going insane, which
Yeah.
is it sets everything up pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I actually do like that scene that you talked about. I thought that was a really great way to sort of I don't know what you would even call it because I'm not hip to the technical lingo, but I thought it was a really good storytelling device to kind of show. You didn't have to show the exact aftermath where you saw it through the photographer's perspective of him holding his child in that bombed out area. I thought that was really good because normally you would see in a movie, you'd see him run into the area and then find his daughter and start sobbing over her and all that.
No.
And they
But
kind of went a
there's-
different way with that.
Mhm.
What's cool is they did a really good job at threading all of the different plots together, because
Mhm.
like right after this explosion you see Jackie go in there, and then you're moved right into the phone call sequence where you meet like the government and the other players within the story. So it seemed like a really like logical and natural progression to see it through the eyes of the reporter, rather than like you said, like follow Jackie into the shop and then he finds his daughter.
Mhm.
Because other movies would definitely do that. It'd be quite easy to just again have some shaky cam thing,
Right.
trying to be chaotic and stabilizing on the daughter and stuff. But since there's just so many characters in this movie that you have to focus on, that it does a good job in kind of threading all this stuff together.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
I totally agree with. I think the craziest thing about the bomb is at that time we weren't aware of anything. We didn't know. Well, and for a while we didn't know who anybody was, and the players that we were meeting, we weren't aware if they had anything to do with it, what they had to do with it, and the only thing we knew for sure was that the explosions were a means of political gains, but that hadn't been proved. And I thought that was just interesting because at the very beginning, you're thinking, why do they keep bringing up politics? Like, it was a bombing. Like, what? All right, they're going to figure that out, but that's like so small. Like, can we get to the murder part? And just the way they were trying to show you what was going on, but couldn't exactly give it to you, and just gave you every little bits and piece. I feel like from the very beginning of this movie, you knew the story, but you still wanted to be given and fed different pieces.
Yeah. They didn't give away the whole, sort of mystery to the thing. I did like that they used the IRA because that sets up like a preconceived understanding for the audience of what you might be dealing with. They did that type of stuff through Ireland for a very long time.
Yeah, and it's nice too is that it really establishes the pacing, like that kind of piecemeal information giving out. It sets up the because this movie is like 2 hours long, but it moves really well. There's very few parts that feel like it drags anywhere, if any. And you kind of get a good sense of that from the first 5 minutes.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. And so, like Mike said, basically after the bombing, you kind of see Jackie Chan's character go into, what do you call it, like Rambo mode, where he basically starts it like erasing his identity and preparing
losing his
himself.
mind.
Yeah, because he's spending a lot of time trying to go to the police station, trying to like get answers about who did this, and standing in his daughter's room for long periods on end, I'm sure. And I think he did a really good job about like expressing without the need for words. And I think that was a pretty good pretty good feat for Jackie to do.
I was gonna say about Jackie Chan and that. Honestly, I just remembered this. I was thinking at one point in the movie, I might need to go watch a few more Jackie Chan movies. Like I've seen other movies where he does really good acting, so I wasn't surprised by the great acting, but the range, like you were saying with the emotion part, I really was like, what if there's like some real deep dramatic Jackie Chan movie out there where there's no punches, no kicks,
right?
You know what I mean? And we're missing out. It's like for anyone who hasn't seen what's that, Man on the Moon? Jim Carrey, like anybody who doesn't know that, it's like, oh, you thought it was just jokes over there, huh?
Yeah. Where's Jackie Chan's Truman Show?
Where is his Truman Show? There you go. So yeah, I thought that at one point in this movie for sure.
Yeah,
and I find it like as he's going through that change because of this event. Now that I think about it, he in the beginning he's talking a lot. He's quite talkative, and then that does shift to like he only has a handful of lines, and they're basically all the same line after a certain point.
Right. The names.
The names.
From the very beginning. I need the names. He don't want to know nothing else. And he's telling you he wants name, and it's like, why would you just want the names and locations? Oh, no reason.
yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Now, really quick, I have to ask that. Why from the very beginning, if a 61-year-old man, if I'm in law enforcement, or if I'm in politics, or just period, if I'm a civilian, if a 61-year-old man, old dude that look like he ain't got no speed, no nothing to him, all he keep asking me for is names. Give me the names, and all of a sudden he starts threatening me when I'm telling him for real what I know, everything I know.
I think he'd be like a triad or something, you know.
Not a one man army.
Bars before somebody get killed.
Right.
Reasonable doubt.
Like everyone underestimates him because he's looks like this old frail guy, and it seems to be like even part of his character to build up like a fake identity of this old frail guy.
Right.
He walks stiff on purpose. You can tell that like he dodders around when he's around other people, and then he's doing somersaults and shit.
La, 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 la. Oh. Yeah, no, for sure. With Liam Hennessy. First
Liam
off,
Hennessy, the most Irish name
the
in the world.
most Irish name. Like I promise, I mean what I said. Hennessy has to be the Jackson for Irish names.
What about O'Reilly?
Yeah,
his name
Patrick that's right.
O'Reilly
that's like Johnson. Yeah, that's like Johnson. For real, that's Johnson, or like a Spanish Flores or something. Like,
I'm surprised there wasn't a Seamus Leprechaun.
There definitely wasn't a Seamus. Was there a Seamus? There was no Seamus.
I don't know, maybe not. Yeah.
No, you know what? Sean would be a Seamus.
Yeah, Seamus might be a Southern Irish thing. Maybe we're in the north, so
It might too be this.
Yeah, I want nobody get mad at me. You're right.
Of underestimating him because they keep calling him a Chinaman.
Yeah.
Chinaman.
Which is actually interesting because this is based on a book called The Chinaman.
Yeah. But you can't call it that.
Can't call it that, of course. So call it The Foreigner because that's way better.
The difference 6 years make.
Yeah, right.
So was this movie called The Chinaman 6 years ago?
Could have been.
I mean, maybe they changed the name. I don't know.
That's funny.
But they still called him in it, so it's like
they continuously called him the Chinaman, and even at the beginning, the guy. So after the first bomb, and we see the two guys, he says, they're going to be looking for an Irishman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it made me wonder how old the script is too. When you think about, there were quite a few things. Excuse me, that it seems as if we can't say, or no one is willing to say anymore on TV or in movies. And
you have to add ish or ease at the end. That's the rule.
Even having a
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Even having a
Irish Spanish,
Irish. We don't say the Ireland man. We call him the Irish.
The Irish.
Chinese man, not the Chinaman.
The Chinese man.
Chinese man.
I'm just gonna learn his name. I don't want to figure all that out. That's a lot. That's all of that is so much harder than what's your name? John. Nice to meet you.
No.
His name is Quan. Thank you.
Oh crap! Yeah,
Yeah.
we are talking about a movie.
You were
His
thinking
name
of
is
Shanghai
Quan.
Noon.
But see, okay, wait, really quick.
with John Wayne.
His name was John. So here's my problem though. His last name's Quan. So what was his first name? Like,
They said it, but I don't remember. It's like I don't want to try. That sounds terrible.
oh, you're right.
Don't bait
I'm
me
not
into
gonna try.
trying.
I'm not gonna try it. They did say his name. You're correct. Like
They did.
two or three times maybe.
Yeah.
When they were
Yeah,
reading paperwork.
But it was much more like even this like playing off the symbol of a Chinaman, like, oh, it's just some Chinaman. So
Yeah.
that gets drilled in your head more than
Yeah.
than his actual name than
Mhm.
Quan does, because it comes up every now and then, but not
does.
often enough
Mhm.
Right. But
for it to stick in your head.
True. But I still have that question though. My question was, because I realized I didn't ask it. My question was, if everybody is in power in law enforcement, why didn't anybody think to run him?
To what?
Oh, it was
Run
all
his name.
classified.
Oh yeah. He
It was
Oh,
all
you're right.
classified.
You're right.
Special
That was
forces.
all top secret information. Okay, then never mind. So they could have ran him all they wanted to. He just was a dad.
It was
And
just
they
a guy
did
come
run
down
him.
that
That's
owned
how
a
they knew who he
restaurant.
was. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's how they knew about the restaurant and how they knew that
His
he had already
family.
lost kids.
Mhm.
Correct.
But the
My bad.
second you start to figure out he starts to like know stuff is like starts burning pieces of his identity, and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, we're about to fucking
Listen,
go down
like-
this roller coaster. We're hitting it. We're hitting the thing.
Right.
And
This
he
is-
pulls out like that fake thing for the van, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
is this just like a Jason Bourne thing? What's happening here? What's going on with
He
this?
trained Jason Bourne. He's 61. He's too old to be Jason Bourne.
That was his
Yeah.
Rambo sharpening the knife moment. Where he was just like
Yeah.
burning those pieces of paper, and all
Bruh.
they were newspaper clippings that mentioned his family.
And his family photo.
That's how deep he went.
Yeah.
He burned his family. That's how he burned it into his memory.
Yeah.
But what got me, well, not got me, but what was crazy, this is when I knew we were about to go crazy. I was like, oh, he is okay. Initially, I was thinking he's gonna harass the law enforcement and then he's just gonna turn into this superhuman dude. And it was like, as soon as I thought that, the very next scene, he was like, yo, I'm not waiting on y'all no more.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh no, he's really that guy. He's not the I go crazy because out of passion guy. He's the I am this guy.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want
Yeah.
this problem.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to say anything about it either. He
He
didn't.
didn't say a word.
He just made like some threat. Like
He didn't tell you
there's
shit
a-
about his
the-
set of skills.
The way, yeah, I know, right? This wanker called me, threatened me, and then hung up the phone.
And look, it was
After he bombed you.
right.
Yeah.
That
Can
was
we talk
hard.
about that very first bomb though? That was impressive.
Yeah.
And as I thought about it through the day, it makes sense.
Oh, it certainly makes sense. You fill up those things with gasoline, and
Mhm.
and you
And
got
that's it.
twine and matches, and that's it. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. At first, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Oh, if you fill it with like something flammable, gas, and then I was like, wait, he had access to nitroglycerin, but he didn't go that far. So
hmm
Not at that point. He was still building his way up as like a warning, and he does
Yeah.
like this escalations which is interesting because it mirrors sort of the like the IRA discussions where they're like, you wanted escalation in the past where we used to do
Right.
things, and then we would slowly escalate. That's exactly what he does to them. He
Mhm.
starts off with this warning.
This is their own
bomb,
tactic.
and he's just like, give me the names. I just want the names. That's all I want.
That's all I want. And what I thought was even more impressive about that was not just his diligence to stick to it. He was so affirmed in what it was that he needed and he wanted that everyone else's motives kind of disappeared through the story.
Mhm.
Like you would find out, like, oh, that's what this person can. Oh man, yeah, that's right. He want the names. You got the names yet? Like, oh snap, this person, the names, bruh. We still ain't got these. Nobody got the names, and that's what it was no one had names. So no one,
Yeah.
no matter what anyone else wanted or what anyone else's agenda was, there were no names available as
Mhm.
of yet. So
Well, and that I think that's why they used Jackie Chan kind of sparingly in this movie. Like he is the main character-ish, but also Pierce Brosnan. Because if it was just Jackie Chan, this movie would have been over in like 45 minutes.
yeah, you had to have two different storylines going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He made pretty quick work of all of those people.
Jesus. Oh, man.
I mean, well, okay, so that takes me back to him leaving his house. So him just giving his restaurant to his friend when he goes to the little mini mart and just is loading what looks like saran wrap and whatnot into his car, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
is this MacGyver assassin? Like Hitman 47
nice.
with saran wrap, duct tape, and 2 Bic lighters. Next thing you know, he done blew some shit up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so
he definitely has some crafting skills.
yeah, and it was like, again, that very first bomb he sets off in the office, run him. Why is no one like? I would be calling in the biggest favors because he is a bigger threat at that point. At that point, this is before anything else happens. He's a bigger threat when he blows up my restroom than anybody we're tracking down that's blowing up buses and cars and planes.
Yeah, but Liam was concerned about everything being tied back to him, so he wanted to keep things on the QT. You know?
Exactly, but we didn't. We find that out, and that I want to blow that. That's crazy. Right?
Yeah.
And
so,
he said like he was underestimating him.
Right? The entire time.
No.
And he did. He called himself out, but he didn't do anything to adjust. Just what did you guys think of him catching that ferry and then the lady that rented the place out to him?
What did I miss? What in particular?
Like, we just see him get off of this ferry. We never saw anything else. So the transitions, how we were talking about the transitions.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, they take some liberties a little bit, but I think that it just makes the movie run a bit smoother.
I just wonder, is that possible from Ireland, from Ireland to London, or
yeah, you can ride a ferry. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what I more so mean.
Just
like, they just had that jump to him getting off a ferry. Like, is that a thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they had there might have been some more stuff like him getting to the ferry, like doing setting it up. But I feel like they're like, look, this is getting like a 2.5 hour long movie. We don't need this to be. You got to cut some stuff.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
make a point. I'm getting into those old tropes of having to see someone travel on the road to know they got there. My bad. Sorry.
No, I think it would have been. I think it still would have added. I don't know if it would have been a redundant emotional weight, because you get the sequence later when he's in the woods by himself.
Right.
But even just having them there on the ferry by himself, just looking into the distance and remembering things about his daughter or anything like that, still could have added emotional weight. But I think that's it's fine what they did to establish it later when he's in the woods, or to reinforce it later when he's in the woods.
Right. But you're right. That's what I feel like I was missing at the beginning, was a little more of a backstory. I didn't put those two together until you said it, and then like, wait, no, that is what it was.
Yeah, they kind of dangled that carrot for a little bit in the movie, trying to keep him a bit mysterious until you find out much more about him when Liam is researching. Oh, you're on mute, Keelan, just so you know.
Oh no, that was important.
Okay.
Intentional. I did say, even though I put myself on mute, I still said Liam.
Oh.
But I think they did that in a good way, because then even then that exposition dump would become a little bit redundant, and you would still need to confirm that this guy actually. I mean, it's obvious through his actions that he has some sort of training, but it's always good to confirm it for the Liam character, because we know it, but he doesn't know it.
Of course,
right?
Yeah, for sure. I did like the. I guess we're kind of there right now. One of my favorite parts was the guy that got kneed in his head while he was surveilling
that was pretty good.
Surveilling he just opens the door and knees him in the head.
He messed those dudes at the B&B up though.
Yes, he did.
Like the dude at night, he got off lucky. He didn't see it coming. He just got knocked out. He gonna wake up with a little bit of a headache, but
yeah.
The rest of them, they know what happened. An old man whooped their ass.
Big time. Yeah, big time.
The stairs thing was really good when he kind of jumps over that staircase and then you get a little tight space combat. That was really enjoyable to see, because it's like that Jackie Chan use of the cameras while actually moving through the camera, because that jump you could have had 5 cuts within that jump, or 3 cuts, and it wasn't. It was just one fluid motion over, and then you get a cut to when he's landing.
And
classic Jackie Chan stunt.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm about to say. It felt like a
Mhm.
classic Jackie Chan. Like if that wasn't in there, you would have questioned who did the choreography.
Right.
Mm. He
For
was
sure.
like some damn monkey.
Yeah.
Right? He rolled down the roof and swirled down like some damn monkey. It was like, why did he have to use that analogy?
I mean, props to Jackie Chan, dude. He is still
Right.
like in incredible shape for 60 years old.
Man.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And so apparently when this movie comes, so I'm thinking this was 6 years ago. He's 67. He was 61 when this came out.
Yeah.
So I just hope to be in that kind of shape at 60, 61.
Same.
Well, so
I
they
think.
used like his real age in the movie then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the
Pretty
character's
much.
61.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this
So
his
they're really
last?
getting their ass whooped by 60.
Has he made anything recently?
I think he has another movie, very similar plot
Maybe in
where
China. He might be filming more in China right now.
possibly, but I know he has another movie that maybe came out in the last 10 years that has a very similar plot.
Hmm.
Where his daughter or his niece or somebody gets killed or kidnapped, something very similar.
Mhm.
Is he trying to send some message? Is this family okay?
I know.
Everything
Right?
here. It's the same plot over and over and over.
I'm sure everybody lives at the compound and is safe.
Look. I am not a proponent of war, but if we need to go to war with China for Jackie Chan,
For Jackie
We
Chan.
will.
Free Jackie.
He had a movie in 2020 called Vanguard.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to.
That sounds like his Truman Show.
I mean, the dude is so fucking wealthy. I mean, he's got it. He's got it made. I mean,
But it's been that way for a while.
yes,
He's been comfortable for pretty much ever. All our lifetime at least.
for sure. Yeah, and so what else? I mean, there's a lot going on in this movie. I just don't remember the sequences. So, Keelan, if you could help me out on that.
No problem.
Where are we at?
That's where I'm at.
Yes, sir.
So at this point, we are catching up to so after he hangs up on him and he sends everybody down to the B&B. So we've met his wife, we've met his nephew. But he's already told his wife that she's gonna have to go to the farm. So from this point, we've gotten to him beating him up. He's taking his vehicle back, and we can pretty much go to the farm.
Mm.
Well, also, hold on. What's the point of sending her to the farm to be safe if he
Ain't gonna
goes
win
to the
it.
farm?
Because so I think the weird part about that was he planned on sending her to the farm, and after he hit him at the house, it was
with the
shit, all right, we
Jag,
gotta go.
right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't the Jag first. It was
like one of the cronies' cars.
the one that they didn't blow up when he said no, it was the Jag. He set up the Jag, but it wasn't set to actually blow. He just wanted them to see it.
Yeah, so he
Right.
could get that paper with the
Yes.
word, the
The
names.
names.
So that's when he realized, damn, he can get too close to me.
Yeah.
And that's when he also went to the farm, and then he blew up the barn farm, which I love you start getting like, all right, they're gonna keep talking, we're gonna learn more about boom. Ooh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And just the like the chemistry work that's going on inside in that little B&B.
Mhm.
Like he's just in the room,
Yeah.
just playing with the
Cooking
chemistry.
nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
And the old lady, okay, listen.
Just as you do.
I didn't care for that old lady narking on him like that.
She did
I'm
narc
sorry.
on him big time.
She narked on him quick. She saw him coming, ran to the door. Top floor, right? What?
I hope he came back for her after he finished everything. No, I'm kidding.
I would have.
I'm not kidding. I would have waited till she was gone and burnt the B&B down.
I don't know where you go with the story, but I would have enjoyed it if you find out that like she's like one of his like an old military connection through some.
I thought she would be.
way.
like a safe house.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of cool for sure. I would have liked that.
But instead, she narked him out.
Dirty. How you gonna do it like that?
You know?
How you gonna go and do that? Crap.
But no, that farm, yeah, blowing it up. You get a good little mini fight sequence there where he's like knocking him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
got
I
just-
like that. Into the horse stable.
Yeah.
I thought he
Just
blew them
leaving-
up at first.
I did too. So
I
was
was
it
like,
the metal
yo.
door that saved them?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I think he planted the bomb in the shed, but he left the doors open or like the door
Oh, okay.
unlocked to the horsing to draw them in.
Okay.
So it would also it wouldn't be enclosed, so open space. Wow, that's crazy.
Then you also like eliminate the chance if you knock him out and tie him up, there's no chance of them finding the bomb and defusing it or accidentally dying because he doesn't. I don't think he.
Soft tissue
I
concussion.
don't think he's killed anybody throughout the. Not yet.
He didn't kill anybody.
I don't know. I even think later he chooses not to kill anyone.
He didn't kill one person.
Later.
He does
later.
Oh, he does kill one guy.
That poor guy that doesn't even get named because they didn't even find his body.
Well, but did he kill him or did he just knock him out?
Bro, he got his eye impaled by a stump.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he might have been dead too.
I'm pretty sure maybe
the guy that was under the sheet when he like pulls up.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
Under. Yeah.
That's the only guy he might have killed. I mean, he for sure gave him a severe concussion.
Except for some people.
Oh no. There are some people he killed. We'll get there.
Oh, right.
All right. So Liam's nephew and his wife and super pause. Listen, there was at least one Game of Thrones writer in there. I know
that's an aunt by marriage. All right, that's not for you to think it's an aunt by blood, but
that
it's
is true. That right.
Aunt by marriage.
It's European.
There's a movie coming out by Jordan Peele. It's called Nope.
What I do like though about that subplot is that it sets up like this weird or interesting like Nero-esque plot, because I think Nero's mom ends up killing the emperor before Nero in ancient Greek or Roman history, and then gets Nero in.
That
in a way,
two different empires.
Yeah, and I wonder if this was sort of the same thing. Like either she was grooming him or just straight taking advantage of him to be like the next leader.
Right.
No, I think both. I think she was trying to see how deep she could sink her claws in and use him at the same time. And so I thought that was real cold, but to find out like how much, like I could tell his wife despised him, but it was like, she really was like, at first I was like, oh, she mad because she married a gangster and now she with a politician. I ain't married no politician. I married a gangster. She's a gangster, you know? But to find out her reason and like, oh, he let the killers of my brother live. Lady, you are sick.
Because he wasn't gangsta enough.
Because he wasn't gangsta enough. But like, don't get me misunderstood. I get it. But wow, like you've been with this man all this time just so you could set him up down the road. You're pretty sick.
Yeah, that's a don't ever push an Irish woman into resentment. That's for sure.
Clearly.
They hold their grudges.
I don't want to talk. Can we change the topic? I don't want to talk about that sorts of thing anymore. The past part of my life.
No, the wood scenes were some of the best. I mean, Ponji sticks are always great. I always like a good Ponji stick
because we hang out over there for a long time at the barn, which is kind of cool because he's like he's in the movie, but he's not as far as Jackie Chan's character.
He's kind of like a phantom.
Yeah, you can do your whole plot device, or you can do your whole, advancing the narrative. You can set things up, but you always have like this question if something's going to happen at any moment because that he's somewhere out there in the woods.
Out there. Yeah,
right.
And I like how he hits the Jag as the one guy. And what I also thought was really cool, he hit the people who hit him the hardest. Like every single hit was strategic. Specifically, the guy in the Jag. That's the dude who was really trying to mess him up at the B&B. And when he got a chance, he got that. Like he happened to be the dude in the Jag at that time. I don't think that was a coincidence.
Yeah. He had to have a line of sight, right? He needed line of sight in order to hit it. And so he hit that thing on purpose. And just how that's what made me think that he was closer to like being some part of intelligence rather than special forces. It seems like he was used to a lot of solo operations.
Reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance, and then getting people in the right places at the right times when you really needed them to spring his trap.
Well, they also had listed that he was a multi-time POW and a prisoner who had escaped I don't know about multi, but they said he had escaped prison too, and then he had also served multiple years in prison. It was like, wait, so is he a military dude or a criminal? And why was he in prison?
He was like a covert ops Vietnam War veteran and a POW. Yeah. In other words, don't fuck with him.
Let him run his restaurant.
Right.
Don't fucking kill his daughter and then not have the names.
Right.
Right. You gonna ask that man for Peking duck? You don't do nothing else.
Mhm.
But it also makes me wonder too about like real life situations where you see some old guy and you really don't know. You have no idea what he did in his life.
That's true. That is very true. Some of those guys playing gin rummy right now are, straight killers.
Yeah.
That is a fact. So I also thought it was interesting. I thought he got shot, and then we find out he only got grazed.
Hmm.
But when he is cauterizing his wound, which I again thought, whew, when you're from a different time, man.
Isn't that like the survivalist staple in Hollywood? You always got to cauterize the
Gotta
wound.
cauterize.
Yeah.
Sprinkle some dirt in it like Predator.
Right.
Cauterize it.
Right.
Turn the dirt into glass over your wound. Like, yeah, no, that's not gonna get infected.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's science.
Doesn't scream or anything.
Yep.
Because if he got shot, then he just leaves the bullet in. Which is
Tough
probably
man.
even more badass.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Do you know what it's like to go through a metal detector, and when it goes off, you strip naked and go, "Oh, I got a bullet right here."
Yeah.
Another bullet right here. I mean, I don't know what that's like. I'm just asking, have you ever thought of it?
Crazy.
But
Mhm.
I figured when we saw that flashback of him getting shot, to me, that pirate ship moment of him losing his daughters, getting shot, and somehow still being alive and staying afloat with his wife, it was a testament to the type of person you were dealing with.
Mhm.
Like, this ain't the kind of person that was wrapped too tight from the beginning. Like, he had a family, and it simply made him have a purpose.
Right. Yeah.
But clearly, before he had a family,
He was a killer.
Yeah, like he was ice cold, heartless. Nothing was there until there was a family. So I reflect back to we're dealing with a bunch of law enforcement, and military background people now because we have Sean involved. Why has no one called in a favor and gotten this information?
Yeah, it comes too late.
I figure it was already too late. You should have just found the names, bruh.
They might have all too, all right. They all might have been far too focused on the bombings to think about this random old guy.
Yeah,
that was bombing everybody.
Well, and two, who are you gonna call? You're gonna call some like superior and be like, "Hey, there's a 61-year-old Asian guy that is giving us a runaround. My elite crew of soldiers. who are you gonna tell?
Who you gonna call?
You think you're gonna keep your job after that? Probably not.
Wow, you just made that. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's embarrassing. Even Liam is like, how is this old man running circles around us?
Yeah, he's a step ahead every time.
Yeah.
Yo, Pierce Brosnan killed that character. I don't care what nobody say.
We need 100 people. It's like by the time that happens, Belfast is going to be pissed.
Yep.
100 people. That's how you knew we went soft.
Right.
We need 100. First off, we need 100 people. Second, why are y'all getting close enough to get hit with all these traps? Just spray the woods. What's the worst you're gonna hit? A couple of deers, maybe a teenager or two.
It looks like it was private land. I think they would have been fine.
I think it was private land too. That's really why I'm saying spray the woods. I don't think nobody was out there.
You literally know how to make bombs too. Just blow up half the woods.
Yeah.
Do it like in Dark Knight when he talks about the guy who just wanted to see the world burn, and the only way to kill him. Or no, it's Dark Knight Rises. I'm talking about Bane, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to burn the whole forest down. Yeah, just burn all those woods down. You'll find them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke them out.
Yeah, certainly. But so what happens? So then his nephew comes in?
Well, yeah, so he calls his nephew in. So what we also left out at the beginning was Liam is having an affair on his wife, and she also hates him because of that. I forgot that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're both cheating on each other.
Yeah, because she that damn Cersei.
Cersei Lannister, yeah. Well, and the girl that Liam's cheating with is one of the revolutionaries, right?
Yes, Maggie Dunn.
Okay.
Her name was Katie something, I think, for real. But
You know what's
we knew
fucked
her
up?
like
I saw this.
Emerson.
I saw this movie and the credits, and it was like Jackie Chan, Pierce Brosnan, Charlie Murphy, and I'm like, oh no shit,
What?
Charlie Murphy. That girl's name is Charlie Murphy. Her name is Charlie Murphy.
That makes all the sense.
Yeah.
Charlie
Because
is the one
I
thing,
thought to
yeah.
myself, I'm like, oh shit, Charlie Murphy's in this movie.
It was his
You're like,
last
where'd I miss
movie.
it?
Hey man, listen, if I had seen that, I would expected to see Charlie come in. God damn, Jackie, you killed that. Oh,
That'd have been great, man. I would have loved that.
come on, Jack. Can't be acting like this out here.
Yep.
Gotta go take care of the restaurants and shit. No, my bad. I'm getting too into that. So yeah, after all of that, I'm just McGrath.
Yeah.
I wish we had got a little more McGrath before we met McGrath. Heard his name at least, something. He kind of just flew off the wall. Like,
Yeah.
we got Bromley a few times, so it made sense what Bromley. We got the I can't remember what her name was or what her involvement was, but the lady who was clearly high power political.
On the Brit side?
Yeah. But we had an idea of who they were. On the IRA side, as far as I knew, it was just Liam and the guys that was around him, and they had all the connections. Then all of a sudden, McGrath pops out. And I'm like, so
I think McGrath was in that meeting
at the
It would've-
beginning. Okay, maybe I missed him at the beginning
But I think there should have at least been a couple more meetings, like,
of McGrath,
Because-
right? Yeah.
or like just the committee in general to set everyone up to kind of understand it's like this mafia-esque group, right? This quasi-legal mafia-esque group, because they all seem to have some sort of political power at this point.
Yeah.
But even if you just set that up with like the whole everybody got their report in sort of thing,
Right.
and maybe before you send Liam to the farm, the card gets rigged at the second meeting, and then you get a little bit more info about that. They could have did that, but then again, that could have actually existed, and they could have just cut it out, which I
Maybe.
think actually made the movie a little worse. I don't think that would have been redundant information.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice to build that character a little bit more,
Yeah.
because it did feel like Keelan said, like it was like, all right, well, this got to get resolved. So let's, you know,
Oh, there's a new character in.
let's assume that, you know, we know what we're talking about here. But you know, I thought that the politics was pretty interesting about it. So I mean, like, I didn't feel too terrible. It's like, you know, McGrath was tired of being the soft politician type and wanted to get back into the revolutionary action.
Right. Which makes, again, like it makes perfect sense to have that character to be so close to and tied to the Liam Hennessy, the Hennessy character. And well, and even I just thought of Oshak Hennessy. Crap. What was I going with that?
We were talking about McGrath and
Liam.
Yeah.
So to realize that Liam, he wanted to kind of shake things up. He had told them to go for it with a few bombings, but not to the level of which they were doing them. And it's like, hold on, wait, bro, we did exactly what you said. We just, you know, a couple of people died. Shit happens.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Really
what was
until he
Lee
freaked
wanting to
out
do?
that they
Like,
went left.
think of like bomb a bank that was near nothing else on a Sunday.
Yeah, Mama said he's gonna bomb a bank on a Sunday at 7 p.m. or something. Like, come on, bro. That's not what we're doing out here. That's not making a point. That nobody cares about the bank that's empty. They only care about losing people. Unfortunately, reality of life. Liam, in case you didn't know, people only care when they lose things they love.
But it was supposed to, like,
according to the movies,
set him up for you're supposed to set Liam up to be reelected or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Put the heat on, so it was like, oh, Liam has the connections, so he can negotiate a barter, basically.
I did feel like that was all a little bit wrapped up conveniently. Like the explanation for Liam wanting the bombing kind of came out of left field, and I agree. Because at the meeting, at the initial meeting, he acted like he had no clue that there was going to be a bombing at all. Mm-hmm. And he was upset. And he was like, we need to find these people. But then you find out like he wanted the bombing, just didn't want people to get hurt.
Yeah, because I didn't understand how did you have so much to do with it, but you had we're gonna
but you know
search and audit
nobody.
the depots. Why would you do that?
And apparently they made an agreement to not let anybody know who the bombers were, so it couldn't be tied back to them. It was like, wait, what?
Right.
I guess that was to like keep from the committee coming. Probably reality because there's just so many characters, but probably to keep the committee away from like taking power or something or blowback from that.
Yeah,
and having a some sort of internal fight.
Yeah, just to make it look like he did his part. Like, oh no, it was a thorough investigation. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there was some more context that probably that got cut out too.
Yeah.
Because this movie is actually really heavy on the IRA politic side of the story. So I could imagine that they probably needed a lot more film to explain that sort of really interconnected, detailed and very complicated nature of dynamics. Right. Whereas Jackie's story is very simple. It's like, this motherfucker wants to kill some people. Then that's it. There doesn't need to be a whole lot of like history lessons about the dynamics between the South and Northern Irish.
Right. You want to know what Jackie's character, what Quan's whole MO was? Names.
That's it. Names. That's all he needed.
Give me the names.
Yep. Yeah, and the book is 320 pages, so I'm sure a lot got cut out.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot more of that like intrigue and infighting within in that structure too. That probably just didn't translate as easily. But
well, what do you guys think? Because we find out that McGrath has a connection to the wife, and after she shags her nephew, after she shags her nephew, she goes and she makes a call to McGrath. And he says, quote, "I helped her, she helped me." Do you think that was sexual or political?
Probably
both. Yeah, because she needed help basically she wanted to take Liam down for not ever.
Yeah, I think it was all her plan to go to the next extreme.
I think the biggest
she would be sleeping with everybody.
Yeah, and basically it's like she will help. I think maybe McGrath was going to be like the ouster. He was going to be the guy that gets put in charge, and maybe she was going to give him more power or something. Who knows?
Well, apparently, she was telling everybody that, wasn't she?
Yeah,
she just manipulated
about it. Yeah, exactly.
The power of that thing. Well, I tell you.
Well, she got hers in the end, right?
Oh yes, by young Sean O'Malley. What was his name?
Seamus McLeprechaun.
Seamus McLeprechaun. But young Seamus went on ahead and did that thing. Nah, Sean, I appreciated that. Like him giving his nephew. So first you have Liam, and he deads McGrath in the chair, popped to the head. Hey, look, we can't let them take you in. You know how this has got to go. Hunk.
After getting all the names.
Yeah, right. After getting everything he needed, I was sitting there like, oh, now he want to be gangster.
Yeah, he's got to protect himself. He's got to, It reminds me a lot of the show Peaky Blinders, where the character starts off as a gangster and then becomes a politician towards the end, and he has to balance that like really tricky dynamic of being the frontward facing public facing politician but also fucking killing people, which happens to be the story of many countries and many in the world. But it is kind of a cool dynamic that it's like he has to get to that point because he has to protect his brand and image. Like he's now the public facing man, so no loose ends. Can't let any loose ends, because if it ties back to him, his political career is over. His power is done.
Yeah, and ironically, McGrath ends up getting exactly what he wanted out of Hennessy, right?
Yeah,
he wanted him to turn back to the butcher of Bogshire or something like that.
Bogshire,
I can't remember.
Or Bogshore, Bog something. Yeah. But he becomes that gangster again. He finally goes back and ends up just killing the guy that pushed him to do it. Pushed him back into it. Because I also find it interesting how the Hennessy character is this character that just keeps getting pushed further and further back into a corner.
Yeah.
And then that corner finally goes away at the end. It just falls apart.
No, everybody dies.
Everyone.
He even
Except
has
for-
his wife killed.
Yeah.
He has Hennessy has a fate worse than death, though. His career is
Oh,
destroyed.
yeah, that was-
He's in the
Yeah.
back pocket of the bricks, so he's not even fighting for Ireland anymore.
Nah.
Everything's just gone.
It's like,
Mhm.
oh, well, I ain't got to help y'all because I ain't got no career now. I'm out.
No, I mean the Brits will still take him. They'll still take him for all of his information. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's still a useful politics, though, right?
Hmm.
Painful.
He's still useful.
So now you have no power and you're stuck.
And you're stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the coldest thing was the 24 hours he gave him. And then when he gets there. So my thing, police are set up everywhere. SWAT,
Yeah.
special, whatever you want to call it. I don't know all the different, but they're all there, right?
Anti-terrorism unit.
Right.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, this dude gets in posing as the gas company, kills all 5 of them. Well, kills 4 of them, leaves her. And I don't know if he left her on purpose or it was just like, I got to get out of here because they blew the door.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think he just kind of saw that he hit her, and then that was like, all right, good enough.
Yeah.
Well, he made a
and he hit her in the
big
collarbone
thing.
area, so that could have really killed her anyway.
He did a big thing or says a big thing about not killing women and children.
Yeah.
You know, he repeats it multiple times, even with the bombers. Like when he's talking to Hennessy, he's like, "Yeah, you kill women and children. We're nothing alike."
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he was shooting her in that area to just incapacitate her, not necessarily kill her.
And he also knew that she was one of the bombers too.
Yeah.
Right, but he also knew
Yeah.
that was Maggie Dunn. That was Liam's little boo thing.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy. Yeah, that would have been a perfect scene for him. Anyway, he could have been a great reporter in this movie.
I think that scene was actually pretty good because I was like, oh, how is he going to manage this? Like, and maybe it was a bit simplified. It might seem you would have to suspend the disbelief a little bit, but I thought it was done pretty well. It would make sense that the SWAT team, after hearing gunshots, would hang back until they dissipated.
For sure.
But yeah, his exit was pretty damn Hitman like.
Man,
that shit was. He did some Sam Fisher shit and just
walking out the front
put on
door.
a jacket and walked out the front door.
I've played Hitman 1 through 3, and if that was on a level, I'd probably play that level about 5, 6. I for sure would make sure I play it till I get every challenge.
Yeah,
easily.
That would be a pretty cool level. Yeah, you got to take out a set of targets before the SWAT team comes.
Right.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah,
and escape unnoticed.
The little bit of miscoordination by the SWAT team too is pretty interesting. So when they say go, you have the top floor blowing the hole down, and then you have the other SWAT team running up through the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And that little bit of miscoordination gave them the time to walk out.
Just
they heard
time.
Because they heard them like shooting. They heard shots. They told everybody to stand by. The intel folk or the reconnaissance folk, they lost visual on anything going on.
Right.
So they couldn't. They gave control to probably your alpha team that was upstairs, and Bravo was just sticking outside because no one told Bravo to get up to the front door before things went down. So it was that little bit of like even miscoordination within those units that was kind of cool to see, because it's not like a straight coincidence. It actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And it all kind of
perfect
works.
timing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which kind of speaks to, Jackie's character, that she's always kind of one step ahead and has that perfect timing.
Right. And he steals the dog.
And leaves it.
Steals it and abandons the dog. Poor pup.
What'd you think of the bombers themselves, that whole little crew, and then that reporter that gets used as the mule?
Yeah, I thought that was actually pretty interesting. We don't get a lot from the bombers. We get more from Charlie Murphy, which I think is cool. I'm not going to not call her that because it's a little funny.
Very nice.
But I think they did what they were supposed to. They were ambiguous, and I think that you didn't get too much of them, and that was fine because they weren't supposed to be anything more than the MacGuffin for the character. It's like you got to go get those people.
They got to be there.
And it's probably a little bit better too that you don't know a whole lot about them, so you can just assume that they're terrible people and all of that. It makes it easier to relish in the carnage.
She sits
Yeah,
around and finds a new bomber every month.
Because they were very, very bloodthirsty too. Even
Yeah.
after they had like the
Mhm.
successful first bombing, the first thing the guy says is like,
How many I
people did
get?
I get?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like a liberation or a revolutionary aspect either to it. It was just wanting to kill for the sake of killing.
Which
Yeah, I
which
think
is a
that
good device to just have no sympathy, because sometimes you want villains that need to just be expendable.
Yeah, villains need to be villains sometimes. There's nothing wrong with it.
I
Yeah,
think that was the
absolutely.
purpose behind their targets too. Like when we saw the increase of who they were killing and where they were killing them, and like you said, Mike, him moving from that straight to how many did I get?
Yeah.
High score.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Treating it like it's a game.
Right.
Yeah.
And those counterintelligence folks, they did not hold back on poor Charlie Murphy.
Holy moly! No, they did not. They
Yeah.
they were like, "You can do this the easy way or the hard way."
Yeah, dude walked in. He's like, "I'm gonna ask you questions, and you're gonna give me answers."
These fucking electrodes.
And then
It's always with
Natalie
the electric nipple clamps.
And man, only person that's ever not worked on is Vigilante apparently.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Man, that's because golf put him on his nuts. He should have put him on his nipples.
should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty cold hearted, man. And then just put two in her chest at the end of it. It's like, damn.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
2, 3. Yeah, it's probably a tracer. Let's call it 2.
You don't negotiate with terrorists.
No, yeah, and they said no strings, right? Yeah.
No sense. Just
No loose
That's it.
ends.
I heard a lot of negotiations until people started dying.
And that was
I'm
it.
just saying they were definitely trying to negotiate some pardons and whatnot.
Well, I mean, like that's kind of the interesting juxtaposition too, right? It's like, so the IRA became a political party out of terrorism.
Mhm.
Like that's how they were able to actually gain any political ground. So it is kind of interesting because Liam represents that politicized portion of the terrorism,
Right.
And the younger folk represents the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Those hotheads.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they feel like
But
Liam wasn't for the people no more.
The ideology, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's the revolutionary energy, right? It's it's carried mostly by the young. Then once you get a little bit established, you start to sacrifice a little bit of that revolution for comfort and luxury and all of the fine things.
Yeah.
And then you realize you become one of the bourgeoisie. Alas.
So goes life.
Yeah.
And I was like when they're running through the airport looking for his laptop, and he's
Man.
just sitting there like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo."
Hey, listen, that cop was way faster than anybody was giving him credit for.
Bro, I thought he was gonna like dive on
Well,
it.
with
at
it.
some
I thought
point.
he was gonna die
Like,
with it.
Yeah.
But
I just
yeah.
wondered like if well no, they don't have guns, right? Cops in the
Yeah.
London don't, because they could have just shot out the window and then threw the thing out the
True.
window.
That would have made more sense. Yeah.
But they don't have guns,
They don't
so
have-
they can't.
Wow. Didn't
How
even
do you
think
feel
about it.
now, Britain? Pretty silly.
Well, at least they only lost a corridor. They didn't even lose anybody. That was a good.
It was a good
And I like
call.
how it wasn't that large of a bomb because it was built to take out a plane. You take
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't need a giant explosion for that. Yeah.
Could you imagine how fucked it would be? He runs and he like throws it down the thing and he sees like the flight attendant. Oh hey, how's it going?
God.
You dropped your lap.
Well,
Damn.
he's gonna have an absence with pay for a while.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, I would hope that he gets the rest of the year off, man. Just pay him, let him go on vacation.
Yeah, jeez.
Just let him go.
But no, I think the reporter was in it for like 2 scenes or 3 scenes, and he did his job too.
Mhm.
Like established as well as the mule, and kind of connects everything back to like this main central thread with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Oh, he finally sees Liam again. You kind of get all the other loose ends tied up.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, he shows the world that that he was cheating on his wife with a confirmed terrorist, the
Mhm.
bomber.
Which makes
Yeah.
him a terrorist by association.
which ruins any sort of political aspect. I don't know what that means though for being in the back pocket of Britain then, because I guess they can, the PM
Desk
can keep
job.
them. Yeah, can keep them for as long as the public will allow it, but then that's it.
Yeah. They might at this point just try to extract him for all information and then discard him, you know.
Throw him off a cliff.
Discard
Maybe.
or discard.
And discard. Yeah. MI5 style.
And got disappeared. He went up to the farm. So they can say.
That's right. There you go.
Good point.
Went up to the farm. Got retired. But basically after the confrontation with Liam, Jackie Chan leaves him alive to be basically the king of the rubble and just sit in his desolation. And then he goes back to his restaurant and he's being surveilled by the Brits, but what's his name? Bromley decides not to bring him in because they owe him one.
Yeah, he's like, I feel like we owe this man something. You feel like you owe him. You do.
Yeah. He just kept all your SWAT team out of danger by killing those dudes.
You know they was gonna die.
Yeah.
And that last fight scene was good. I feel like we can't get out of a Jackie Chan movie though without him being in the ceiling corner somewhere.
Yes, yeah. Propped up
another
in the
one
corner of a wall. Yeah.
Another classic Jackie Chan. Yeah, like whoa.
And I wasn't expecting that. This one actually caught me by surprise. I was like waiting for the rollout or like him to roll, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He's the guy that does that. He's that guy.
Yep.
I thought he was about to like yank him by the hands, take the gun, pop him. Nah, he, like you said, out the corner, spider monkey style.
Yeah, and that's where it was kind of nice to see the more like Jason Bourne cutting style of it.
Yes.
Because instead of it's a nice surprise in that fight that he's up there, versus like the more traditional filming style, you would have seen him like either jump up or the angle would be set up to where he's up there, and then like you see like the top down of the hand reach around instead of him should get to the wall and then put his arm around the wall, and then the reveal finally when the camera takes up. So I thought that was nice to see those blending together.
Still got the muscles to hold himself in the corner at 61.
All I have to say is I hope Jackie Chan does kung fu movies and fighting movies till he's 90.
Yeah.
So
and right after I'm done with this, I'm going to try to hold myself up in the corner. See how
there you go. Yes. See how difficult it is.
Just try to hold yourself up on the arms of your chair.
Right. Yeah. True. All right. Well, you guys got anything else you want to add before we get to our reviews?
Oh, what'd you think of the nephew as being like the tracker?
Oh yeah, I did. I think that was a bit underdeveloped. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. It would have been interesting maybe if he was deployed a lot sooner. And maybe there was a little bit more cat and mouse between them. Right. But I did like the way that it was resolved. It's two military men deciding not to kill each other because they have some sort of respect for each other. Yeah.
And they're both soldiers. I wouldn't even mind a little bit of like an exposition dump from Jackie when after the nephew tells him that he was in Iraq. Yeah. And Jackie tells him that maybe he was in Vietnam or something.
Yeah.
But it is kind of closer to his character, at least to like the emotional state of the character, to not say anything but let him go.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was done pretty well. I think it was resolved well enough. It's like they really don't have any reason to be fighting each other. It's like just because my uncle tells me to, man.
And he broke down everybody else, but he gave Sean after Sean took the ultra kangaroo kick to the chest.
Yeah.
Then the branch to the back.
Yeah.
And survived that. It was like, all right, come on, kid, let's talk.
That's another Jackie Chan, like classic Jackie Chan move. The 2 kick and fall to the back.
The guile kick.
Yeah. He's like he always does that one.
Yeah, it's cool to see those moves in these in this movie at least. It's shot from a different way too. Shot more in that Bourne style, but it's nice to see that blend.
Yeah, it is. I do agree. The fighting style is much more grapple Krav Maga sort of aspects to it. Lots of disarming, a little bit less of the showy kung fu. Even though he does his like Iron Jacket like sort of katas, they're much more brutal. Like like an old vet grizzled vet would do them. You know, not some like grandstanding young guy.
Young dude.
Yeah,
More
It's like, get off me.
more energy efficient, right? Yeah.
Look, you see what I'm saying? Look, like, get off me. Oh, here's another one of you.
Yeah.
Get off me.
Yeah, I think that's the last bit I got.
Sweet. All right. Well, then let's do the ratings and we can wrap this bitch up. Anybody want to go first? You want me to? Did I not? I think I probably should. Huh?
When was the last time you went first? You don't remember?
That's why I'm trying to. That's why I think I probably should. I can go first. It's cool. Let me just pull up my doc here with the scores. I'm pleasantly surprised by this movie. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect a whole lot because, again, Jackie Chan is great at making movies that are Jackie Chan movies. But I think this kind of transcends a Jackie Chan movie a little bit more and is more kind of a good drama and an interesting movie that I might check out again. I was worried a little bit by the side story or the sort of parallel story, but I think that was also really intriguing. So I think they did a really good job about keeping that balance of, I wanted to see Jackie Chan, but Pierce Brosnan was also cool too. And his story was interesting enough for me to be like, okay, I don't miss Jackie Chan right now. So yeah, pleasantly surprised with this movie. I might be rating it a little bit high, but it's just because Jackie Chan is a national treasure. And I think that, more dramatic roles like this from him might be, something that I would really enjoy. So I'm going to give this, I would watch it again. I was thoroughly enjoyed. It's 2 hours long. I didn't feel bored. I'm going to give it an 8 because I really did feel like I was entertained by this movie. The story isn't the most fantastic thing you're ever going to see, but it was compelling. So an 8 for me.
Very fair. Very fair. For me, I liked the movie. There was nothing that I can think I disliked. Some things that I think were, I agree with Nick. I think some things were underdeveloped. Really only 2 stories actually, and there's not anything I missed. With that being the case, Jackie Chan also is, yes, like I said earlier, he is that man. He is a legend. And I didn't really know what to expect of hearing him and Pierce Brosnan being in the same movie. But they didn't really have to work against each other as much as I thought they would on screen. So I think that was done well as well. Maybe their chemistry isn't that great on screen. And had that been the case, whether that is why or not, it was executed well. Like, I enjoyed both of them as well. So I'm going to give this a very simple 8.5. I wanted to give it a 9, but there was nothing emotional. I always feel like when I hit those 8, 9, 10s, and it just hits. Little things won't get you there. If I didn't get any emotional tugs out of it or anything like that, but everything else was there. So 8.5 for me.
All right, cool.
Well, I enjoyed this. I enjoy pretty much all Jackie Chan movies, even when they're bad. But yeah, some of the story was a little bit like either underdeveloped or just edited out for time, which makes you want a little bit more here and there. I understand that you just it can't be all from Kwan's perspective, because then you just have like 2 hours of a man sitting in the woods pretty much.
Yeah.
Which,
so
might have been interesting, like I just sitting there staring out into oblivion. But also too, it didn't do much to like break any new ground anywhere. But definitely entertaining, definitely something that you could watch more than once. And even that if it's on in the background, you're not mad that it's on in the background. Like if I was the TV and like it was a choice between Peacemaker and this, I'd watch this, and I would have this on in the background for sure. Has made me laugh a few times intentionally, which is nice. And then I enjoyed all like sort of like the small little spy elements, but it's not as good as like your Bourne Identities or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it a solid 7.
Very nice.
Sweet. All right, 7 it is, which would
So,
bring
23.5.
It's a 7.8. That's not
Ooh.
bad.
That
Not
is in the lead.
bad for old man Jackie Chan.
Right.
Sweet. Okay. Well, yeah. Y'all good with that? We good to wrap it up?
Good to go.
Super good. Thank you guys so much for listening this evening. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We definitely enjoyed doing it, and we hope that you checked out this movie. Let us know what you think if you've seen it. If you have any other comments, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. Please also consider giving us a thumbs up and a subscription. That would really help us out. We're trying to grow our channel, and we can't do it without you. So very much thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this. We have a family of podcasts that we're connected to. Mike and I have a podcast. It's called Exofathom. It's on every Monday night at 8 p.m. Exofathom is on YouTube, Facebook, Verbal, Rumble, and Odyssey. So you can check us out on all of those platforms. Keelan has his podcast. It's called If Numbers Could Talk. It's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. He's got a Facebook page and a YouTube page, If Numbers Could Talk. Be sure to go check him out. Give him a thumbs up. Let him know what you would like to hear from him about. And if he's got some surprises in store for the coming up weeks, so be sure you subscribe because he's going to be giving you guys great content every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. If Numbers Could Talk. Our resident co-host and friend of the show, Dijon the Mustard, has a Twitch channel. It's called Strawberries and Coffee. He does his shows Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Be sure to go check him out. Hit the notification bell on his Twitch channel so that you can get notified when he goes on. He also has a YouTube page at Strawberries and Coffee where you can get his streams that he posts after the fact. But if you're a purist at heart, just want to hear us blabber on about movies and TV shows and critique things for which we have no credentials to critique, thank you for taking this trip through the Screen Time Continuum with us. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I am Keelan.
And I'm Headphones.
Good night. I always fuck up the Screen Time Continuum. I hate that.